Coming up on Ag Week TV, we'll find out what skyrocketing fertilizer prices mean for the 2022 growing season.
Producer ownership and federal inspection offers a new life for a small-town butcher shop.
I'm Jeff Beach. I'll tell you about a Minnesota bison rancher who takes pride in cutting out the middleman.
And Minneapolis Wheat surpasses $10 for the first time in 9 years. Welcome to Ag Week TV. I'm Michelle Rook. Farmers are feeling the sting of skyrocketing fertilizer prices as they make fall applications. The price tag for products like urea, anhydrous, potash, and UAN 28 are more than double the price of a year ago. Average retail prices for the third week in October were at $940 per ton for anhydrous and $735 for urea. Farmers like Jeff Thompson are feeling sticker shock when comparing prices to 2020.
I think some of them are up, $200-300 a ton more, so it gets your attention a little bit.
Fertilizer supplies are tight and expected to get tighter in the spring, so more farmers are making fall applications of at least phosphorus and potassium.
Availability could be an issue too, so everybody's probably put on as much as we can this fall and get that taken care of and see how next spring plays out.
And farmers are also talking about acreage shifts for 2022.
And I think corn market has to go up if it's going to offset the higher fertilizer prices, or there'll be more beans planted next year because the fertilizer prices will just limit, I think, the production on the corn side.
Fertilizer prices are up due to natural gas prices hitting 7-year highs and logistical issues from Hurricane Ida damage. Plus, China has banned exports of fertilizer until at least June of 2022. Before some rain, harvest pace was way ahead of the 5-year average in Minnesota. 70% of the corn has been combined and farmers have nearly wrapped up soybeans at 95%. In the southeast part of the state, Scott Winslow is done harvesting 645 acres of corn and soybeans, a couple of weeks ahead of normal. He says the corn harvest was decent, although yields varied by where they had rain, and soybean results were better than expected. Winslow says although the crop isn't one of his best, he's thankful they had good conditions for harvest.
We had little rain before we started there, but things dried up fairly quickly, and we had a couple of low shots of rain during harvest that shut us down for a few hours, but nothing terribly long, and things went quite well.
Winslow is the 5th-generation farmer on the land that's been in his family since 1854. He farms with his son, Colin. Minneapolis wheat prices have gone over $10 for the first time since the drought year of 2012. The high for that year was $10.35, but the futures market eclipsed that this week. DTN market analyst Todd Hultman says tight supplies of milling quality wheat in the U.S. and globally, and top producing countries like Canada and Russia are pushing the market to 9-year highs.
The USDA is estimating the lowest spring wheat supplies in 14 years. And of course, a lot of that was brought on by the drought that we had this year in the northern plains.
He says farmer selling has also been slow as they wait for higher prices, which in turn may keep pushing prices up, as well as commercial or end user demand.
We've got several months ahead of us. The supplies aren't going to get any bigger, and I think it's just going to get very tough to bid out some of those supplies as the winter goes on. The
all-time high in spring wheat futures was in 2008 when the market went over $24. A South Dakota grain marketing advisor is in another legal dispute, this time in Nebraska. The Nebraska Public Service Commission has opened a complaint against Fearless Grain Marketing and several related companies to cease and desist all operations as a grain dealer in Nebraska. Fearless Grain is headed by Jeremy Frost of Gettysburg, South Dakota. The PSC says the company used various aliases run by Frost's mother. They're accused of entering contracts with growers despite the cease and desist order. Frost is also being sued in federal court by Indigo Ag for fraud for failing to honor grain marketing contracts and other violations. In turn, Frost filed an $8.5 million arbitration action against Indigo Ag. South Dakota Corn named a new executive director last week. Millbank, South Dakota native Danita Murray is an SDSU graduate and has a law degree from Drake University. She has a rich policy background as a staff member for the Senate and House Ag Committees, working on the last 2 farm bills. She was also director of public policy for the National Corn Growers Association. Murray will oversee the association and the Corn Utilization Council. During a recent meeting in Iowa with U.S. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack, Mexico's ag minister clarified that they will not limit GMO corn imports from the United States. Instead, the Mexican government will restrict their farmers from planting GM corn. That follows a previous executive order stating they would be banning GM corn by January 2024. South Dakota Corn's executive director says that's encouraging, but she thinks Mexico is still using the lack of approvals of new biotech corn traits as a quasi-ban.
The longer amount of time that goes by before Mexico starts again to take care of this backlog in the approval system, the more inevitable it becomes that there is a chance that there's an impact on U.S. corn exports.
Mexico is one of the top export customers for U.S. corn, and so the ban would be devastating. Speaking of trade, 170 agricultural and food groups are asking the Senate Finance Committee to quickly confirm Elaine Trevino as the chief ag negotiator for the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. The groups say Trevino has the experience to expand market access for U.S. products and ensure fair trade so the industry can fairly compete. Trevino is president of the Almond Alliance of California and was the state's deputy secretary of ag. She was nominated by President Biden last month. Coming up on Ag Week TV.
When these livestock producers ran short on plots for their local processing needs, they bought their own plant.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you. From top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Hi, Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager, covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market. Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
I'm Peter Bosch. I've been working with Gateway Building Systems for a little over 20 years now. I chose Gateway Building Systems to build my shop because I wanted a building that could both be used for my equipment and as a place for my family to hang out and do things. I would advise anybody that's thinking about working with Gateway to go in and talk to the guys there, tell them your plans and your future dreams, and let them design something for you.
Superior Grain Equipment offers you the industry's best dryer and grain handling equipment. So make the superior choice and get higher quality grains, test weights, and prices while using half the energy. Superior Grain Equipment.
Go beyond the headlines with an Ag Week membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Ag Week and Ag Week TV.
When a group of cattle producers in western North Dakota had trouble finding a place that could timely process their meat, they joined with a group of livestock cohorts to buy their own butcher shop. Mikkel Pates has more in this week's Ag Week cover story.
Going from pasture all the way to plate is a big step.
Longtime friends, cattle producers, and now business partners, Ben Murphy and Weston and Teresa Dvorak, started Dunn Burgers to sell a portion of their beef directly to the public. When they had trouble getting timely processing, they helped lead several ranchers to buy their own butcher shop.
It works out really well for us. The beef was raised here, it was born here, and it's local beef, and we sell pretty much everything to our local people around here.
They started Dunn Burgers in 2019, before COVID, but when the virus hit and disrupted supply chains, they saw a big increase in demand.
And there was just like an onslaught of people wanting to purchase beef locally from somebody because they couldn't find it in the stores. But now we have a lot of repeat customers and more customers coming in from word of mouth. So I don't see us, slacking off or business going down at all.
Co-owner Ben Murphy says helping to buy a butcher plant at New Salem, North Dakota that they upgraded to be federally inspected took the meat business to a new level. Their part ownership in 6-in-1 Meats LLC assures a processing slot and allows them to sell individual cuts of beef, expanding their customer base.
Your consumer, very few of them go to a grocery store and buy a half a beef. They want to go to a grocery store and buy steaks for tonight. So now we can supply that for them because now they're not forced into buying such a large quantity at a time.
So recent consumer trends, entrepreneurship, and working together offer a new future for beef producers in western North Dakota. For Ag Week, this is Mikkel Pates at New Salem, North Dakota.
You can read more in the next Ag Week magazine or at agweek.com. The Cattle Contract Library Act passed unanimously out of the House Ag Committee last week. It was co-sponsored by South Dakota Congressman Dusty Johnson. The bill would establish a library within USDA's Ag Marketing Service to give cattle producers the market data they need to regain leverage in the cash market. In early August, USDA already started reporting information on contracts and alternative marketing arrangements, but the data is not user-friendly. This bill would change that. The library is widely supported by lawmakers and industry groups like the Iowa Cattlemen's Association.
More information's got to be good. I hope it's in a form that's usable, that producers can maybe glean something from it.
There is growing optimism about passage in the full House. While it's not a silver bullet in the effort to reform the cattle markets, it's at least a good step. Livestock producers have been facing some tough decisions during this year's drought. Many were forced to downsize their herds because of a lack of forage production earlier in the season. Though the region has been getting some rainfall, which has lessened the drought, there are still some things to consider when grazing your herd in the coming months. Extension livestock specialist Miranda Meehan says producers should give pastures that were grazed hard this year time to recover. She says the cool season native grasses are currently developing their tillers, so producers should be careful how they graze their herds this fall. She advises ranchers not to let livestock graze below the second leaf on developing grasses, as it will affect growth in the spring.
If we remove the growing point, that tiller is gonna die this fall, and they'll have to start all over next spring. And so it's gonna take longer for it to initiate growth, and we're gonna see less production.
Meehan says overall forage production was down 50% this summer in the region. Ahead on Ag Week TV, we'll meet a bison rancher with a do-it-yourself butcher business. And later, a new campaign aims to get more farmers to use biodiesel.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
At North Star Ag, we're more than your short line machinery dealer. We're also full service, and we're farmers first. That means we know it's not about what's best, but what's best for your farm. Whether you're planting, growing, or harvesting, we're there for all your equipment, parts, and service needs. And we've been doing it since 2009, with the largest inventory and availability in the area. Check us out at northstar-ag.com or call us at 701-361-4790.
Good work, good pay, and a good life. It's the Trans Systems way. Good work, good pay, and a good life. Lets me live my way. Good work, good pay, and a good life. Trans Systems way. Good work, good pay, and a good life. Lets me live my way. It's the Trans Systems way. Good work.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
We had rain across the region this week and even some rare severe weather. Will this active weather pattern continue, and how much is it easing the drought? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
Weather portion of Ag Week TV now as we look forward to the first couple of weeks of November. Northern Plains, upper Midwest, this can be the start of wintry weather, and we are seeing some very chilly weather drop down over this Halloween weekend. That's going to linger around through much of the first couple of weeks of November, but with a catch. It's looking very dry. Most of the Northern Plains, upper Midwest, unless we get a stray snow shower complex or rain shower, I don't expect anything really organized, so I don't expect to see any snow cover building up in the early part of November, and that has an impact on how cold the temperatures can get. You put snow on the ground, you're reflecting sunlight, you're allowing a lot of radiative heat to transfer at night on clear nights, and it just gets so much colder when there's snow on the ground. So we're probably waiting for snow cover before we're going to get any really cold weather, at least the early part of this winter season. Nevertheless, with this trough dropping down into the Northern Plains this Halloween weekend, it is going to get fairly cool. By the light blue now, I'm talking highs in the 30s, 40s, maybe a stray 50. The dark blue is mostly high temperatures below freezing. All right, down south, the oranges, those are your 70s and 80s and stray 90s this time of the year. That's all staying in the south and in California. But a lot of cool weather in the Northern Plains and places like North Dakota and Minnesota and South Dakota. A lot of this week is going to be highs in the 30s and 40s and nights generally below freezing. This ridge of high pressure will eventually lead to a split pattern, which is why we're not seeing any real warmth building up into Western Canada. But this split pattern is also going to keep the really cold air bottled up in the northernmost reaches of North America. Bitterly cold air is starting to show up way up in the higher latitudes, but in this pattern, there's really no opportunity for a lot of that cold weather to really drop south. So if you want really warm weather, go to Southern California, South Texas, or Florida, but the rest of the nation will be sort of seasonably cool without getting anything really cold this week. The first full second week of November, the jets will briefly reconvene. We'll see a little troughing out west. Try to get a little bit of warming into the Northern Plains with that ridge, but it's November. That will again sag south. I don't look for any organized warming at all for the month. As far as precipitation goes, it's going to be pretty dry from the southern Rockies up through much of the Northern Plains. There will be areas of rain down here in the deep south. Some of those areas will be fairly showery. The real concentration of rain, though, is going to be in the Pacific Northwest with lower elevation rain and mountain snows, and that will likely persist for both weeks of this forecast period. We'll start seeing the snows really build up in the northern Rockies, but with the dry weather persistent over much of southern Canada, the Northern Plains, and the upper Midwest, we're not going to get any real winter start, at least not the first 2 weeks of November.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you can help protect the price of your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your years of hard work. LRP is available for feeder cattle, fat cattle, and swine. Besides the availability of price risk insurance in your production, cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from the lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. To learn more about these programs, call Martinson Ag Risk Management.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade.
featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Good work, good pay, in a good life. It's the Trend Systems way. Good work, good pay, in a good life. Lets me live my way. Good work, good pay, in a good life. Trend Systems way. Good work, good pay, in a good life. Lets me live my way. It's the Trend Systems way. Good work.
For Ag Week, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Ag Week TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. A bison rancher in northwest Minnesota has a unique way of serving customers. He lets them butcher the animal themselves. Jeff Beach visited with the Ogama, Minnesota rancher to see how they do business.
I still find them incredibly, I just relax when I'm around them. They make me feel good.
Steve Roberts has been raising bison on his property north of Detroit Lakes for 30 years.
Number one, we're trying to cut out the middleman.
He says doing the butchering themselves is one way people can save money on their meat.
Any way someone wants to have their animal done, whether they want to buy it already complete and inspected meat from us, if they want to have their own butcher come out here, that's fine. We can accommodate that. If they want to have it done and then fabricated at a locker plant, I'll call up Midwest and they'll come out and they'll do the slaughter. I think you just have to be really flexible.
The Roberts like to keep things simple. They didn't even have a name for their product until I called and visited with them. Now they're calling it In the Woods Bison.
The animals have to be happy to do well. They're no different than we are. So that's kind of the goal here, is just keep everybody happy, and it's relatively easy with bison.
Roberts has about 80 head. The average size at slaughter is 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, smaller than most people think. Roberts says the secret to raising bison is not to treat them like cattle, just let them be themselves.
They're smarter than cattle and they don't act like cattle. So if you try to use those same cattle methods, a lot of times they're not successful with that. There we go.
And Roberts says self-butchering makes people happy.
When they're 80 years old, they're going to forget a whole lot of things they did in their life, but they're never going to forget that. And that's the truth, because they'll be giggling and having fun and whatever, and it's just something that most people will never do.
Near Ogama, Minnesota, this is Jeff Beach for Ag Week.
Robert says he doesn't know of any other bison producers who let customers process their own animals. He has customers from as far as the Twin Cities. After the harvest wraps up, the North Dakota Soybean Council is launching a new campaign to increase the use of biodiesel in the state. They want farmers to become more comfortable using biodiesel and blending it on their own farms. Director of Market Development Jenna Bjertsness says they will be holding workshops to educate farmers about biodiesel use. Plus, they're offering a rebate program.
So that rebate program is going to be 10 cents per gallon for B20 and 5 cents per gallon for B10. And so it's up to $1,500 per producer. So that really may help to make biodiesel pencil on the books.
She says the main obstacle to expanding biodiesel use in North Dakota is just the lack of outlets that carry the product. They want to drive demand in the state and change that. For the dates and locations of the workshops or to learn more about biodiesel, go to ndsoybean.org. Still ahead, students from the region are honored at the National FFA Convention.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
I'm Peter Bosch. I've been working with Gateway Building Systems for a little over 20 years now. I chose Gateway Building Systems to build my shop because I wanted a building that could both be used for my equipment and as a place for my family to hang out and do things. I would advise anybody that's thinking about working with Gateway to go in and talk to the guys there, tell them your plans and your future dreams, and let them design something for you.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade. Featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a super coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Go beyond the headlines with an Ag Week membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Ag Week and Ag Week TV.
More than 55,000 FFA members from across the country were in Indianapolis this week for the 94th National FFA Convention and Expo. Ag education students competed in a host of proficiency award and career development areas and agri-science events. A select few were also honored with the American FFA degree, and from that group, a new class of Stars Over America were announced. The National Convention is the pinnacle of every FFA member's career.
It's kind of the biggest thing. The best are coming to compete here. You have to win your state's contest to come and compete at nationals. So it's a very prestigious thing to be able to compete at nationals.
This year's convention was held in person after a virtual event in 2020. Top FFA award winners from our region included Carson, North Dakota's Kurt Mugley, who was a finalist for American Star Farmer. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Ag Week TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have yourself a great and safe week.